Some major
Some major
coronavirus vaccines
coronavirus
from
vaccines
Pfizer,
from Pfizer,
Moderna, and AstraZeneca have been approved.
have been approved. Some major coronavirus vaccines from Pfizer, Moderna, and AstraZeneca has been approved. Have been approved. Have been approved. Healthcare workers and people
Healthcare workers and people at
people
higher
at
risk
higher
have
high
been
risk
getting vaccinated
have been
first.
getting vaccinated first. Have been getting vaccinated first. Have been getting vaccinated first.
However, there
However,
have been
there
delays
have
in the
been delays in
vaccination process
vaccination
due to
process
logistical problems.
due to logistical problems.
However,
However,
there
there
have been
have
delays
been
in the
delays in the
vaccination process
vaccination
due to
process due
logistical
to
problems.
logistical problems.
There is
There
also
is
some
also some
vaccine
vaccine
hesitancy due to some side effects,
has
such
been
as
due
blood
to some
clots.
side effects such as blood clots. Blood clots. There is some vaccine hesitance. There is also some vaccine hesitance due to some side effects such as blood clots. Blood clots. There is also some vaccine hesitance due to some side effects such as blood clots. There are all challenges
These are all challenges in achieving herd immunity.
achieving herd immunity. These are all challenges in achieving herd immunity. Some major coronavirus vaccine from Pfizer, Moderna, and AstraZeneca have been approved. Healthcare workers and people at higher risk have been getting vaccinated have been getting vaccinated first. However, there have been delays in vaccination process due to logistical problems. There is also some vaccine hesitance due to some side effects such as blood clots. These are all challenging in achieving herd immunity. Other vaccines
Other vaccines from other companies such as Johnson and Johnson will soon come along.
Other
Other
vaccines
vaccines from other companies such as Johnson and Johnson will soon come along.
will soon come along. Other vaccines from other companies such as Johnson and Johnson will soon come along. Will soon come along. Will soon come along. Other vaccines from other companies such as Johnson and Johnson will soon come along. Some of them only require
Some of them only require one dose for people to get immunity.
Some of them only require one dose for people to for one dose for people to get immunity.
Some of them only require one dose for people to get immunity.
Get immunity. Some of them only require one dose for people to get immunity. However, we will still have to wait.
However, we will
We'll
still have to wait months to have enough vaccines for everyone.
vaccine for everyone. However, we will still have to wait. We'll still have to wait months to have enough vaccine. Months to have enough vaccine for everyone. However, we will still have to wait months to have enough vaccines for everyone. However, we will still have to wait months to have enough vaccines. Wait months to have enough vaccine for everyone. However, we will still have to wait months to have enough vaccine for everyone. However, we will still have to wait months to have enough vaccine for everyone. Meanwhile,
Meanwhile, there have been some major concerns over new variants of the coronavirus.
Meanwhile, there have been some major concerns over new variants of the coronavirus.
Meanwhile, there have been some major concerns over new variants of the coronavirus.
coronavirus. There have been some major concerns. There have been some major concern over new variants of the coronavirus.
Meanwhile, there have been some major concerns over new variants of the coronavirus.
Meanwhile, there have been some major concerns. Meanwhile, there have been some major concerns over new variants of the coronavirus. There have been some major concerns over new variants of the coronavirus. Meanwhile,
there have been some major concerns over new variants of the coronavirus.
Over new variants of the coronavirus. Over new variants of the coronavirus. Over new variants of the coronavirus. Meanwhile, there have been some major concerns. There have been some major concerns over new major concerns over.
Meanwhile, there have been some major concerns over new variants of the coronavirus.
Concerns over new variants of the coronavirus. These new strains
are known to be more transmissible.
These new strains are known to be more transmissible. These new strains are known to these new strains are known to be more transmissible. These new strains are known to be more transmissible. These new strains are known to be more transmissible. These new strains are known to be more transmissible. The biggest fear is
that the existing vaccines may not be effective against these new variants.
May not be effective against these new variants. This biggest fear is that the biggest fear is that the existing vaccines may not be effective against these new variants. The biggest fear is that the existing vaccine may not be effective against these new variants. The biggest fear is that the existing vaccines may not be effective against these new variants. New vaccines may have to be
developed, and people may have to get vaccinated again every year.
Vaccinated again every year.
New vaccines may have to be developed, and people may have to get vaccinated again every year.
New vaccines may have to be developed, and people may have to be get vaccinated again every year. Korea saw its first confirmed
case of COVID-19 in January of 2020. Korea saw its first confirmed case of COVID-19 in January of 2020.
The virus spread
fast in Korea in the initial stages. The virus spread fast in Korea in the initial stages.
The virus spread fast in Korea in the initial stage. The virus spread fast in Korea in the initial stages. The virus spread fast in Korea in the initial stage.
In fact, Korea once had the second highest number of cases behind China.
Korea once had the second highest number of cases behind China.
In fact, Korea once had the second highest number of cases behind China.
So, the government declared
a national health emergency.
National health emergency. Strong quarantine and social distancing measures
measures were put in place.
or replaced. Plus, testing stations were
Plus,
set up.
testing stations were set up all across the nation.
All across the nation. When someone tested positive.
When someone tested positive for the coronavirus, there were immediate contact tracing efforts. When someone tested positive for the coronavirus, there were immediate contact tracing efforts.
Immediate contact tracing efforts. When someone tested positive for the coronavirus, there are immediate contact tracing effort. When someone tested positive for the coronavirus, there are immediate contact tracing effort. There are immediate contact tracing effort. This was to prevent the virus from spreading further.
This was to prevent the virus from spreading further.
Virus from spreading further. This was to prevent virus from spreading further. This was to prevent the virus from spreading further.
Thanks to active testing and contact tracing.
Thanks to active testing
Thanks
and
to active testing and contact tracing, Korea did not see a massive outbreak throughout the pandemic.
Did not see a massive outbreak throughout the pandemic.
Thanks to active testing and contact tracing, Korea did not see a massive outbreak throughout the pandemic. Thanks to active testing and contact tracing, Korea did not see a massive outbreak throughout the pandemic.
The total number of cases is a little over
The total number of cases is a little over 30 million as of today.
30 million as of today. The total number of cases is a little over 3 million as of today. That is relatively
lower compared to the case numbers in other countries.
That is
relatively lower compared to the case numbers in other countries. That is relatively lower compared to the case numbers in other countries. That is relatively lower compared to the case numbers in other countries. That is relatively lower compared to the case numbers in other countries.
However, the pandemic is far from being
being over in Korea.
The pandemic is far from being over in Korea. There are still large clusters of community infections all over the nation. There are still large clusters of community infections all over the nation. There are still large clusters of community infection all over the nation. There are still large clusters of community infection all over the nation.
Hundreds of new confirmed cases are still being reported each day.
Hundreds of new confirmed cases are still being reported.
Hundreds of new confirmed cases are still being reported each day.
Reported each day.
Hundreds of new confirmed cases are still being reported each day.
Are still being reported each day.
Hundreds of new confirmed cases are still being reported each day.
Reported each day. Social distancing measures have been ramped up.
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 Social distancing measures
have been ramped up.
Social distancing measures have been ramped up. Some businesses
have been forced to shut down or close early.
Some businesses have been forced to shut down or close early.
Some businesses have been forced to shut down or close early.
Some businesses have been forced to shut down or close early.
Some businesses have been forced to shut down or close early.
Forced to shut down or close early. Forced to close early. Have been forced to close early. Social gatherings of 5 or more people have been banned.
Social gatherings of 5 or more people have been banned. Social gatherings of 5 or more people have been banned. Mask wearing is mandatory at all public places, including transportation.
Mandatory at all public places, including transportation.
Mask wearing is mandatory at all public places, including transportation.
These measures have been effective in
These measures have been effective in preventing the spread of the virus.
Effective in preventing the spread of the virus. These measures have been effective in preventing the spread of the virus. However, there have been high level of quarantine fatigue among people.
However, there has been a high level of quarantine fatigue among people.
Especially among small business owners.
However, there has been a high level of quarantine fatigue among people, especially among small business owners.
Small business owner. Meanwhile, vaccinations have begun in Korea.
However, the pace has not been fast enough.
Meanwhile, vaccinations have begun in Korea. However,
vaccinations have begun in Korea. However, the pace has not been fast enough.
Meanwhile, vaccinations have begun in Korea. However, the pace has not been fast enough. The pace has not been fast enough. The pace has not been.
There are simply not enough vaccines to speed up the process.
There are simply not enough vaccines. There are simply not enough vaccines to speed up the process.
There are simply not enough vaccines to speed up the process. There are simply not enough vaccines to speed up the process.
There are simply not enough vaccines to speed up the process.
There are simply not enough vaccines to speed up the process.
There are simply not enough vaccines to speed up the process. It has been 3 years.
Well, it has been 3 years and a half since the coronavirus first broke out.
It has been
3 years and a half since the coronavirus first broke out.
Years and a half since the coronavirus first broke out. It has been 3 years and a half since the virus first broke out. It has been 3 years and a half since the coronavirus first broke out. The vaccinations for
COVID-19 have been going on in countries around the world.
Vaccination for COVID-19 have been going on. Vaccination for COVID-19 have been going on in countries around the world. Vaccinations for COVID-19 have been going on in countries around the world. However, some countries are still seeing
a huge number of new patients.
Some countries are still seeing a huge number of new patients. This is due to the Delta variant of the coronavirus, which is more transmissible. This is due to the Delta variant of the coronavirus, which is more transmissible.
This is due to the Delta variant of the coronavirus, which is more transmissible.
This is due to the Delta variant of the coronavirus, which is more transmissible.
This is due to the Delta variant of the coronavirus, which is more transmissible.
In fact, the COVID-19
pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic has had a huge impact on our daily lives. In fact, the COVID-19 pandemic has had a huge impact on our daily lives.
Pandemic has had a huge impact on huge impact on our daily lives. In fact, COVID-19 pandemic has had a huge impact on our daily lives. First, we have
had to minimize person-to-person
person-to-person
contact.
contact. We have had to minimize person-to-person contact.
First, we have had to
we have
minimize
had-
person-to-person contact.
First, we have had to minimize person-to-person contact. First,
we have had to minimize person-to-person contact.
People had to avoid crowded places
People had
such
to
as
avoid crowded places such as bars or
bars
clubs.
or clubs.
People had to avoid crowded places such as bars or clubs.
or clubs. Had to avoid crowded places such as bars or clubs. In fact, many businesses were forced to shut down when
In
the
fact,
number of
many
new
businesses
cases
were forced to
spiked.
shut down when the number of new
When the
cases
number of new
spiked.
cases spiked. In fact, many businesses were forced to shut down when the number of new cases spiked.
In fact, many businesses were forced to shut down when the number of new cases spiked. As such, many companies had to make some changes at the workplace. As such, many companies had to make some changes at the workplace.
As such, many companies had to make some changes. At the workplace. As such, many companies had to make
As such, many companies had to make some changes at the workplace.
As such, many companies had to make some changes at the workplace. Some of them made their staff
Some of
work
them made their
from
staff
home.
work from home.
Some of them made their staff work from home. Some of them made their staff work from home. Some of them made their staff work from home.
Work meetings took place via video conferences using programs like Zoom.
Conferences.
Work meetings took place via video conferences using programs like Zoom.
This changed the work environment fundamentally.
This changed the work environment fundamentally.
This changed the work environment fundamentally. Many predict
that working from home will remain as a trend even after the pandemic.
Many predict that working from home will remain as a trend even after the pandemic. Many predict that working from home will remain as a trend even after the pandemic. Many predict that working from home will remain as a trend even after the pandemic. Many predicted that working from home will remain as a trend even after the pandemic. In the end,
the coronavirus has changed our lives drastically. In the end, the coronavirus has changed our lives drastically.
Well, I think exercising is very
Well,
important.
I think exercising is very important when it comes to staying healthy.
I think exercising is very important when it comes to staying healthy. Well, I think exercising is very important when it comes to staying healthy. We need to stay physically active to
We
maintain
need to stay physically active to maintain our health.
our health. We need to stay physically active to maintain our health. We
We
need
need
to
stay
stay
physically active to
physically
maintain our
active
health.
to maintain our health. We need to stay physically active to maintain our health. First, I try to work out I try to work out as often
First,
as
I
I
try to
can.
work out as often as I can.
First, I try to work out as often as I can. First, I try to work out as often as I can. I used to get some exercise
I used to get some exercise at the gym in the past.
I used to get some exercise at gym in the past.
I used to get some exercise at the gym in the past.
I used to get some exercise at the gym in the past. I usually did some cardio.
I usually did some cardio on the treadmill first and then lift some weights.
On the treadmill first and then lift some weights. I usually did some cardio on the treadmill first and then lift some weights.
I usually did some cardio on the treadmill first and then lift some weights.
Cardio on the treadmill first and then lift some weights.
I usually did some cardio on the treadmill first and then lift some weights.
Lift some weights. I usually did some cardio. I usually did some cardio on the treadmill first. I usually did the cardio on the treadmill first and then lift some weights. I usually did some cardio on the treadmill first and then lift some weights. I sometimes got personal training sessions. I also used to take Pilates classes for a while. I also used to take Pilates classes for a while.
I sometimes got personal training sessions. I also used to take Pilates classes for a while.
Pilates classes for a while. I sometimes got personal training session. I sometimes got personal training session. I sometimes got personal training session. I also used to take Pilates classes for a while. It really helped me get rid of the
It
back.
really helped me get rid of my back pain.
Get rid of my back pain. It really helped me get rid of my back pain. Get rid of my back pain. It really helped me get rid of my back pain. It really helped me get rid of my back pain. It really helped me It really helped me get rid of my back pain. But even since the coronavirus
But ever
pandemic,
since the coronavirus pandemic, I have been working out at home.
But ever since the coronavirus pandemic, I've been working out at home.
But ever since the coronavirus pandemic, I have been working out at home.
I watch home
I
workout
watch home workout videos online and follow along. I watch home workout videos online and follow along.
I watch home workout video online. I watch home workout video online. I watch home workout videos online and follow along. It was not safe
It was not safe to go to gyms due to the risk of getting infected with
infected with COVID-19. It was not safe to go to the gyms. It was not safe to go to the gym. It is not safe to go to the gym due to the risk of getting infected with COVID-19. It was not safe to go to the gyms due to the risk of getting infected with COVID-19. Other than that,
I also take walks at the park as often as I can.
Other than that, I also take walks at the park as often as I can. Other than that, I also take walks at Other than that, I also take works at the park as often as I can. Other than that, I also take walks at the park as often as I can. Other than that, I also take walks at the park as often as I can. I also go hiking and
I
ride
also
bikes
go hiking or ride bikes whenever
whenever
I
I
can.
can.
Next, I
Next,
try to follow a healthy eating habit.
healthy eating habit. I also go hiking and ride bikes whenever I can. Next, I try to follow a healthy eating habit.
I also go hiking or ride
and
bikes
ride
whenever I
bikes
can.
whenever I can.
Next, I try to follow a healthy eating habit.
healthy eating habit. I try not to eat too much or
I
too
try
late.
not to eat too much or too late.
Too late.
I also try not to eat too fast or too much salt.
Not to eat too fast or too much salt. I try not to eat too much or too late. I also try not to eat too fast or too much salt. I try not to eat too much or too late. I also try not to eat too fast or too much salt.
I try not to eat too much or too late. I also try not to eat too fast or too much salt. Also, I try to cut back on unhealthy food such as fast food or instant
Cut
food.
back on unhealthy food. I try to cut back on unhealthy food such as fast food or instant food.
Also, I try to cut back on unhealthy food such as fast
Cut back
food
on
or
unhealthy
instant
food
food.
such as fast food or instant food. Home appliances have made our lives a lot easier than in the past. Korea saw a huge surge in the number of new cases, COVID-19 cases in early 2022. Where of the biggest concern when it comes to trip is safety. One of the biggest concerns when it comes to trips is safety. These days is not to go on trips due to the coronavirus. You are more likely to come into contact. You are more likely to come into contact with people when you travel. You could get infected with COVID-19. The virus is highly contagious and new variants are even more transmissible. Overall, there are more than 300 million confirmed cases worldwide as of today. The global death toll went to over 5 million and it is still rising. Vaccinations are going on all around the world, but they are concentrated in nations that are better off. We'll have to wait a long time until we get herd immunity across the world. Under the current circumstance, traveling overseas has become close to impossible. Even if you do somewhere overseas, you might have been under quarantine upon arrival, or you have to be full vaccinated and have to test negative for COVID-19 before leaving the country. So not many people are going on overseas trips yet. I hope that the coronavirus dies out so that we can resume international traveling. I hope that they come soon. Well, it is safe to say that almost all restaurants in Korea offer delivery services. That's because everyone uses food delivery app these days. These apps have become the norm, so ordering in has become a lot easier than in the past, especially because of COVID-19 these days. It is not safe to go out to eat at restaurants. Instead, people prefer to order delivery using these apps. Naturally, the number of food delivery order has risen sharply ever since even since the coronavirus outbreak. There are tons of the menus on these apps. Sometimes it's hard to choose because there are so many menus. These apps are very easy to use. People can pay for the food directly on the app. The delivery address is stored on the app. The delivery address is stored on the app. The app also tells you how long it will take, which is very useful. There are also photo reviews from other customers, which help you pick a menu item. Of course, there is one downside. Restaurants have to use disposable container to deliver their food. So there is a lot more trash that is created by containers. This is very bad for the environment.